What's going on, guys? D-Town here with a deck profile. Played in the Battle of Chaos Regional yesterday. It was 7 rounds, 70 people, and I ended up getting 4th place, and a couple of my other buddies had also topped in the top 16. So, anyways, top 4 gets a deck box and a Illusion of Chaos mat, so I'm excited for that. But let's just dive into the deck profile. It's a 60 card. Um, Also, some people have called this 3-axis, so I'm just going to show you what I've chosen to put in it. So 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Ghost Ogre, 3 Nib, 2 Ghost Spell, and a Lancia. These are the monster hand traps in the deck. So Ghost Ogre, obviously, Ash, Veiler, these are all very generic, hit most decks. Ghost Spell is pretty good. It also hits Enchantress, and Ghost Spell has also won me the game in the last round. The guy was attempting to summon Despot off of his Auroradon effect, summoning the tokens, and I ended his turn. I mean, he had to pass with Auroradon and 3 tokens, and so which was really great for me. And then Lancia, I just have one because I played Dagda, so it's a great. If you don't need Scythe, or if you already drew the Scythe, it's just another option of what you can set as follow-up. And then 3 Nib. Nib in main is very good right now. Most people are on combo decks, and they summon more than 5 times. And if you draw this card with any other hand trap, it's pretty much a wrap. I think I only lost one game where I nibbed somebody. Every other game where I resolved nib, I won. So it's a pretty solid hand trap. So anyways, 15 monster hand traps. Moving on to the rest of the monsters. 3 Psychic Wielder. Great level 3 tuner that can special summon when you have another level 3 on board. So you can easily get into your Link 2s. And in some occasions you'll synchro summon, depending on what else is on the board. 3 Psychic Tracker does the same thing essentially as Wielder as far as the summoning part goes. Not a tuner though, but still a great extender. Junk Forward, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card. Not an activated effect, which is great. And again, level 3. 3 Sangan, great normal summon. Only normal summoned it once in the tournament, and it got bounced by spheres, heavenly spheres. But when you are able to normal it and you are able to link it away, it's great because you can add Arborea and then you can special it because it's not an activated effect, which is great. Or you can just add a hand trap if your hand is already gas. 3 Water Enchantress. Obviously a great card. You need it with the Brave Engine. This card acts as an extender. It acts as a searcher. I mean, this card is amazing. It's a one-trick pony. And then we'll get into the one-ofs. We have the Artifact Scythe, of course, to Scythe Lock, the Wandering Griffin Rider, 1 Rox Rose Dragon, 1 Red Rose, 1 Fairy Tail, Celestial, a Dasher, Arborea, and Mare. So we end up with 39 monster cards. So in this version, you could play more Red Rose. I just feel like it's a brick because you want to play as few normal summons as possible because the more normal summons you draw, the more dead cards are in your hand, so you really want to minimize the amount of monsters you're going to be normal summoning. And the deck already plays a few bricks, so you want to minimize that. But it's still a great card. It's a great combo piece. You're summoning it off of Helka Fibrax all the time. So anyways, that wraps up the monsters. Moving on to the spells. 3 Small World. This card is amazing. It fixed my hand so many times. There was one time where I actually just swapped out a dead normal summon into a hand trap just so I had extra stoppage on the opponent's turn when I was going first. Most of the time, though, it was just allowing me to play when I had a dead hand or an awkward hand. 3 Rite of Amisir. Obviously, this kind of like Water Enchantress, an amazing card. It gives you a body, and then you get to place the continuous spell, which is a searcher. It searches twice. Which is insane. Amazing card. 3 E Telly helps you extend. if your hand is kind of bad, sometimes you can stall by setting it, and then on your opponent's turn you can special summon out Ghost Ogre. It can become an interruption. That's not the ideal use, but that is a use. 3 Crossout Designator. This card was decent. There was a couple times where I drew it and I didn't need it. I just won anyways. But there was a couple times where it came in. I did use it on an Infinite Impermanence once, and I also used it on a Nibiru. The Nibiru play was amazing. That actually really helped because it allowed me to save my Baron negate, and if they had Valor in hand, it made the Valor useless that turn because, Valoring after I cross out the Nib does nothing at all, because they can't Valor the cross out. So anyways, it makes that hand trap basically worthless. I don't think he had Imperm, but I think he was just trying to make me use my Baron negate. But anyways, it saved a negate for me, which was nice. Foolish Burial, amazing card. Starter, send anything, send any monster from your deck to your grave. It's amazing. 1 Fateful Adventure, 1 Rhoda. Very cuttable card, but it did come up a couple times where it was nice adding Junk Forward when I, didn't have another extender and I didn't want to use my normal summon yet. It was nice being able to search Junk Forward. You can also search Crusadia Arborea as well. 1 Draco back, 1 Fusion Destiny. I thought about upping this to 2. I talked with my buddy Faye about that. Honestly, you could cut the Rhoda for the second Fusion Destiny. Anyways, I've thought about that. I might test that. And then 1 Basil Rose Shoot, and then moving on to the traps, 3 Infinite Impermanence. So total of 60 cards, and then we'll get into the extra deck. So we have 1 Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. We have Baronet de Fleur. We have a Herald of the Arclight, Borreload Savage, Yazi, Shooting Riser, Access Code, Nightmare Unicorn, Artifact Dagda, Predaplant Verte Anaconda, Cherubini, 2 Halqifibrax, 1 Link Spider, 1 Almirage. So Almirage lets you link off the Sangan. It also lets you link off a hand trap. You can special summon Crusadia Arborea, on the arrow, where the arrow is pointing, which is a great 1 card starter with Sangan. Sangan's basically full combo without it being interrupted. Link Spider, of course, comes up with the Mare tokens. It also comes up if you get nibbed. If you side in Gamma, you could special summon Driver with Link Spider, which you're probably not going to do, but it could come up. It hasn't come up for me yet, but it could. Halqifibrax is amazing. I've thought about just playing one of these, and my buddy decided to play Lina, I believe, in his list, which I think is good. I'd rather play Halq over Lina, just because Lina is dependent upon, the summoning conditions are a little tougher in this deck versus Halqifibrax, where you're flooded with tuners already in your deck. It also pulls from your deck or your hand to pull out a tuner to special, whereas Lina, your opponent has to have a light engrave, which may not always happen. I know they're relatively common, but it may not happen, especially against a deck like Dragon Link or a more dark heavy deck like Phantom Knights, where if they have only a couple light monsters or they end up banished, it doesn't work, or against Flunder, a lot of decks like that. Anyways, moving on. So this also helps you climb into Access Code, because this turns into a Link 3, and then you just need 1 more extender and get to a Link 4. Cherubini is amazing. It saves your turn. It's insane. Dump Water Enchantress, search for right, continue to combo. Verte, of course, to bring out DPE. Dagda to bring out the Degenerate Scythe Lock. So it's suboptimal in the sense of interruptions, but you won't be able to go Riser in some cases in some boards. But I actually like leaving Dagda on board sometimes, because at the end of your turn, because you can actually it's usually better when you know what you're playing against, but you can actually set Scythe, and then when you pass your opponent's turn in standby phase, when you DPE effect to pop the Scythe, you chain the Dagda and you set the Lancia, and now you have an additional hand trap as follow-up. And as soon as that becomes live, the Lancia becomes live, it's just on the board and you contribute it on your opponent's turn, and once it does become live, and stop them from banishing for that turn, which is really nice. And then also when Dagda gets popped, you can special summon a artifact from grave as well. So you could scythe your opponent 2 turns in a row, which is pretty insane, and possibly more if you need to. But usually after 1 turn you just win. But even after 2, you're almost definitely going to win. 99.99% chance. Shooting Riser Dragon, amazing. Send Snow, send Token Collector once you side it in. Um, Send Water Enchantress for follow up. It's amazing. Also, this card plus Scythe, once you summon Scythe out, Synchro summons into a level 8 Borreload Savage, which is amazing. You just send Snow, it becomes a level 3, and then Scythe is level 5, there's level 8. Yazi is amazing. It's a combo piece. You use it to summon out Mare Mare. Mare Mare is a one-trick pony. It basically summons 3 tokens. You can summon up to thrice per turn, and you end up just filling up your board and building the links that you need, and your end board and synchros. So, and this also going second is great because it can clear through boards. The biggest downside that I see is that because you play only 1 worm in your deck, in this version, this card is a little dead. The second effect is dead if you draw Mare Mare, and it can be pretty painful. I have considered playing the Illusion of Chaos package just so you can put your Mare Mare back if you draw it. I did draw Mare Mare a couple times. Honestly, the board was weaker by not going into Mare Mare, but I was still able to Scythe Lock without Mare Mare. Almost every single game, as long as they didn't have more than 2 hand traps. If they had 3 hand traps, there's one time where I still was able to Scythe Lock, but it was because I hard drew the Scythe. But usually when they have 3 or more hand traps, you're not going to be able to do much. But that's every deck. Anyways, Herald of the Arclight, it's a all-in-one Floodgate and an Omni Negate. It's amazing. Yeah, this card is amazing. Shuts off droplets and monsters from your hand. Baronet, amazing card. And then again the Phoenix Enforcer. So yeah, anyways, that's the extra deck, and we'll move on to the side deck. So we have the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, the 1 Token Collector, the 1 Called By, 2 Lancia, 3 Ghost Reaper, 3 Droll, 3 Gamma, and the Driver. So Droll is amazing against Brave. It's amazing against a lot of decks. Even before Brave, it was decent against a good amount of decks. But with Brave, because they add twice usually, not counting the regular adds that decks have, this deck is just amazing. This ends turns sometimes. It definitely makes people play suboptimal boards. They have to just build a board without adding. And every advantage you can get now, basically people win now a lot of times game 1 just because they set up an amazing board that you can't stop, and create a situation where they have like multi-tiered negates, like where they have negates and then they have things like Shooting Riser or the Hopper Ear Squadron in their hand, like things that you can't negate on field that they can just bring out, or like Snow Engrave. So because of all those interruptions, you want to make their board as weak as possible. And anyways, Gamma's amazing. It's a blowout card. It ends turns, kind of like Droll. Sometimes this is better. Winter Cherries didn't come up. I sided it in a couple times. The one time I saw it, didn't play it. Ended up normal summoning it. 2 Lancia obviously speaks for itself. Called By, just a sacky one of. Token Collector is amazing. That won me my last game against that Halkorodon deck, like I mentioned earlier, the Tinyi one. And then Harpy's Feather Duster. I could put anything in here. I was thinking of putting a second Token Collector. At this point, to draw 1 card out of a 60 card deck is less than a 10% chance. So like 1 in every, I think, 11 or 12 games I'm going to see this card. Probably not worth playing. So I basically have no back row removal. The only thing I have is a bounce, which is the Griffin Rider equip. But this list worked out pretty well. The one game that I lost, he drew better game 3. I drew a couple hand traps in combo, and 3 hand traps, in combo, and the 3 hand traps he still ended with the spheres and 1 card in hand, and I didn't, I don't remember the exact cards in my hand, but I just didn't draw what I needed to play. I think I had a Sangan. I had 2 normal summons, and so I just was not able to play because he just spheres bounces, and then I have to pass my turn. So, anyways, but it was great overall. The tie that I had, if I had a few more minutes, I would have been able to get in some damage for game. But game 1 and 2 drug on quite a ways. He was playing Virtual World, which was really tough. Virtual World, and I don't remember if he had Brave or not, but it was a really good deck and a really good player. So, anyways, see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.